I'm on break, and so I'm trying to zoom in on my face so you can't see anything with information behind me and you can't see my shirt. If you see my hand like this, it's because I'm trying to cover up the logo. Anyway, the point is, I just heard something that made so much sense that I can't believe I didn't think of before. My arm's already getting tired. There we go. Okay, so um, so remember I was talking about how you're in your own universe and everybody just kind of this guy is incredibly intelligent. He's having this conversation. They're talking about the same thing, by the way. This is not from Bouchard. This is a scientist talking about this, and he called them bubble universe or whatever. And you might meet someone else in their bubble universe. When I was talking about like having coffee with a friend. Anyway, he's talking about that, but he's talking about psi abilities, and he's talking specifically about remote viewing, but also remote influencing. And I'd never heard the term remote influencing before. And that was the idea that you can influence someone through like psi abilities. Like I could think something and make you think something, right? And but he was like, but you don't need to have psi abilities to do that. You just need to have a conversation with somebody. And then he goes on to talk about he goes on to give this example where he's talking about, did you really remember to lock your keys in your car this morning? And he goes on about it for like maybe a minute or two, until the guy was like, geez, I don't know, and he's like, so now what I've done there is I have effectively retrocausally reduced the likelihood that you remembered to lock your car this morning when you came back here. It was at 99%. At the beginning of this conversation, you were certain that you had locked your car, and now it's down to at least 95% just because of this conversation, because you can retrocausally, in the present moment, affect how the likelihood of things happening in the past. And and I've always thought about this like from the point of view that like if you talk to indigenous people, they talk about when you make decisions in the present moment, you can affect generations, 7 generations back and 7 generations ahead, depending on the decisions that you make in this lifetime, right? And how everybody just kind of, well, whatever, they're barbarians or whatever, which is ridiculous. But the thing is that we now know, because we have done the delayed choice experiment, which is the in 1978 they altered the double slit experiment and proved that you can change things in the past based on the decisions that you make today. That was something that they proved in 1978 that you do. So the decisions that you make today change your life in the past. And what you did in the past, and the choices that you made in the past, and probably also the choices that you make in the future. Which brings me to this frustrating thing that I have had for like ever, trying to think about how manifestation actually works. Because in my mind, it's like, oh, you have to have this, hearing it over and over and over again and having it explained to me in 50 million ways, and you only have one way that you're going to hear something that's going to click in your mind and make it make sense. So that's why I'm making this video, just in case someone else has this click in their mind, that the reason why you have to feel that you already have the thing before you have it is because it's the retrocausal effect that they were talking about. If you have that moment of self-doubt, it takes the percentage, the chance, from 99% down to like 50% or 70% or whatever, so that the likelihood that you will actually accomplish the thing that you are trying to accomplish, or the thing that is actually going to work out, is affecting the past. So if you start feeling emotionally like something, you're iffy, wishy-washy, or you're going in with like the sense of panic, I need $2,000 right now, oh my God, I need it because I'm going to sink if I don't get it, I'm freaking out. That is why it doesn't work, because it takes your retrocausal percentage from 99% likelihood of this thing happening to like down to like 50 or 40 or whatever percent that it will actually work out for you. So that is, well, he said 95. I'm just taking it down because what I have learned in my life is that the percentage, like I will go into every decision thinking I would really like this to work out, but like I'm so used to it not working out that it just cements this idea in my head that things just don't work out for me. So they don't work out for me. And it's because of these retrocausal beliefs that I have that change the way that things are going to work out in the past so that they don't work out into the future. Does that make sense? I think I'm explaining that in a way that makes sense. It makes sense to me now because I have this idea of your multiverse, like bubble, like meeting all these other bubbles. So it kind of makes sense to me how, like, the mechanism for exactly how it works, I don't understand. But that it would work and that it would affect the past makes sense to me all of a sudden in a way that nothing else ever did. And in a way that I think I am now going to be able to take into the future and hopefully be able to manifest things, because I'm going to understand more clearly in a picture, not in words so much, not in like the emotional sense, but like in the picture in my mind. I am going to understand the mechanism by which manifestation can actually work, so that I can have a chance at actually creating the reality around me the way that I want it to work out, instead of going into every situation just assuming I'm going to be digging myself into a hole, so I might as well just stay where I'm at. Because that is pretty much how my life has been. Why would I go back to school? I'm just going to dig myself into debt. Why would I make this decision? I'm just going to dig myself in a hole. Just constantly thinking about how every positive step forward is going to take me 20 steps backwards, and I'm just going to end up. But then I was also thinking about the fear factor. The fact that we push so much fear in this society is exactly. I mean, okay, how do I explain that? So if you're changing things retrocausally and you have to use fear to control people, of course, if you are trying to make people, you have to make them suffer so that you can control a population. Of course, you're going to be using fear as a mechanism. If fear is going to stop manifestations from happening. If you are trying to get a population to stop realizing that they have the ability to affect their life and from the past to the future by blocking their manifestations, of course you're going to use fear to do it, because fear is the would be probably easier than any other emotion to stop and try to move people in the direction that you want to move them, to make them do what you want them to do, to be able to prevent them from having the lives that they want to have. So when it comes to manifestation, you just have to genuinely have like a Tinkerbell moment and believe, just to believe. So that is insane. I hope that makes sense, and I'm going to try it out and we'll see if it works, because that was awesome when I heard that, and it was coming from someone who, I can look up his name really quick. So the researcher's name was Adam M. Curry, and he was being interviewed on the Mind Meld podcast on YouTube. It was really interesting just listening to him talk, because you can tell he's one of those scientific minds who can explain things to people like me so that I can actually understand it. So if you want to look it up, it's really cool.